Hello, guys. Yeah, I know, long time no speak. Been doing a lot of research this summer on optics and sensing in fiber optics. So that's kind of my field of research. I want to actually start making more videos. I promise. I'm not just saying that. But one thing that I've noticed, and believe me, I will not be talking about this a lot. I'm just going to stick with science and reason and philosophy. But I have to get back to this whole nonsense about the regressive left and political correctness. Now, you know me, I'm not one to whine about this, but I just gotta say, anti-regressive left people are just driving me insane. You know, this this whole movement started off well-intentioned, and there's still some well-intentioned people in it, but it's just deviated into alt-right, false equivalence, and hypocrisy. Uh, Not an hour ago, and you're going to see this on the news, there was a white supremacist rally in at my university. The dean of students had to drive me home because he didn't want a tall black man who can be easily seen walking home by himself at night. Now, how is this related to the skeptic community? Well, I've just seen a lot of normalization of this sort of thing, this sort of phenomenon, where social justice warriors, regressive leftists, whatever you want to call them, are just as bad as the alt-right, white supremacists, and the rest of the deplorable stuff that Trump's election has emboldened. Fortunately enough, the dean of students was kind enough to drive me back, and so I'm safe. But why is it now that this sort of stuff is normalized and not pushed back against with the same ferocity with which SJWs and alt left or regressive left, you can call them, uh, people are pushed back? I made a point in the last video I did concerning the subject that political correctness goes both ways. Um, you know, you have this alt-right movement. Okay, so let's see. Alt-right, we want a white ethno-state. We want a peaceful ethnic cleansing of minorities, and we don't like Jews. So in other words, we need a safe space from minorities, Jews, and gay people and whatnot. Why isn't anybody calling that out, right? Isn't it just as bad, in fact worse, because this has led to many deaths in this country? I mean, if you want to talk about political correctness, I mean, is there anything more politically correct and weak than wanting a safe space from other people, other minorities? You don't want to mix races because you're going to pollute my race. I want my children to be purebred, dyed in the wool white. And no one says anything. Yes, I'm against it when this batshit crazy blue-haired whale screams racist, sexist, and doesn't like conversation. I'm against that. It doesn't need to be said. I support their free speech. I support the free speech of Richard Spencer, who's also an alumnus of the school and who is also here and will be here tomorrow, along with another alumnus who's leading this alt-right movement. Seems that this is pretty, safe space, trigger warning to me. Why isn't this being called out? Why is it that someone like Lauren Southern can say this?
Yeah, even the Richard Spencers of the world, like they're even them, they're kind of misrepresented as well. Like Richard Spencer is not a white supremacist. He is a white nationalist. He believes in a white ethno-state. He doesn't believe in whites being superior.
She can say that and not be called out on it. Why is it that people will be against regressive ideas in one direction, but not another? Why is it that people's standards for what counts as genuine bigotry or genuine safe space behavior or genuine identity politics is so low? Oh, I'm against it when a black person is arguing against interracial marriage, as I saw recently. Okay, so I think that's dumb. I think that's dumb, and that to me is where I draw the line. Once you start entertaining this sort of racial separatism nonsense, I'm done. I check out. Right? Now, can we talk about real shit that happens on the other side that has been emboldened in these times? Or is it just the regressive left that we can only talk about? I mean, first of all, is there anything more identitarian than white ethno-nationalism? Please tell me. Like, is there anything more identitarian, more obsessed with the principle of racial purity or a race being under attack than this sort of white supremacist movement that's been given a rise? People wanting to make an entire country for themselves. That's a sort of identity politics, isn't it? They have their own language. They don't call people sellouts, they call them cucks. Okay. Well, that's an identity politics right there. Why aren't people calling that out? Why is it that people have now used Islam as a benchmark? So in other words, why is it only bad when Islam does it or when the regressive left does it? Why isn't it also bad when conservatives or right-wingers or white supremacists do it? Why isn't it bad when one has been clearly given more power? And if you're going to be against one, you should also forcibly be against another. I'm not seeing that. And it's not to say that everyone in this sort of so-called skeptic community should be held responsible. Obviously not. And you shouldn't be making videos about this every day. Obviously not. People have shit to do. But it really bugs me that people have now taken what was really a good concept, the regressive left, the left that goes so far in identity politics that it emulates a horseshoe, what the French philosopher called the horseshoe theory of politics, where you go so far in one direction, you end up endorsing things that you would otherwise despise. But now, it's being used to taint the entire left. So first of all, you have people called liberals, which I don't even use that word anymore. I am formerly a left libertarian, but now it's being used to taint liberals, left, progressives, and Marxist and communist and anarcho-communist and so forth with the same brush. It's dumb. And when this happens, the usual suspects only care about it when it comes from the left. Anything short of that is totally justified and gets no press whatsoever from them. It's just a thought. It's really starting to bug me because now there's a sort of equivalence, and it's really the equivalence that's annoying me, that whenever people mention this sort of deplorable form of bigotry, we always have to qualify it with the idea that it's the right-wing version of some batshit crazy thing on the left. Okay, it is, but which one is more powerful at the moment? Which one has recently been emboldened? I don't know. I just think, it's largely become a ruse. I'm not the type of person to say it's a buzzword. I'm not the type of person to say that we don't need to talk about it. But for once, people should really start to focus on real shit, not this monster that's been inflated like a balloon. That's all. Thanks. An update. I went to the rally today at Emancipation Park. It was pretty good. A lot of people came out. It was a hot day, terribly hot. I'm glad that I got some water because I was dehydrated by the end of the day. 3 people died. A bunch of anti-racist demonstrators were mowed down by a car. 19 people injured the last time I checked. "19 people killed because they wanted to protest against white supremacist racism that has no place in the Charlottesville community. And they were killed for it because they exercised views that some guy didn't like. So he mowed them down with his car and then pulled back.
Go, 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 go.